my friends are overdosing. All my favorite venues closing, and I can't win. One step forward, two steps back. Been a year, brain I lost track, and I see no end.
All right, well, I'm Michael Lynch. A lot of people call me Solo. And what I'm known for probably the biggest thing was felony fights. I did that for a while until I destroyed it. I've done many projects, many companies. I've done Cage vs. Cons. I've done trap flicks with Snoop Dogg. I've done a lot of projects with Ghostface Killer from Wu-Tang, like Woo Goo. And now what I've been doing for a while now that I love doing, my passion project is called Stairway, where I help addicts and alcoholics and mental health, and it's my passion.
I'm Kenny Clark. I don't know if I'm known for anything, but I have a radically different background than Michael. I studied electrical and computer engineering at Purdue University and Carnegie Mellon University. I have an MD from the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. I was certified at one time by the American Board of Medical Specialties in anatomic pathology, clinical pathology, neuropathology, and forensic pathology. I've worked as a medical examiner in Pittsburgh and Syracuse. I was teaching faculty at Syracuse University and at Upstate Medical University. And I also now work with addicts and alcoholics very passionately. I do. It's full time, and it's. I've been clean, really clean, like completely clean for about almost 2 years now, and in that time I've become extremely passionate about my own recovery and helping other people struggling with addiction find their own recovery. And, you know, it's funny, I'm really excited to do this podcast with Michael. I've actually known Michael 3.5 years ago. It was actually in August of 2022 when I first met Michael. And I think one of the things that I've come to, there are many things about recovery. I could talk all day about the blessings of recovery, not just aside from being clean. Right? Mm-hmm. Aside from being clean, which in and of itself is the greatest victory of all, right?
But you'll have nothing else if you're not clean.
Exactly.
But that's just the starting point.
That's the starting point,
correct.
Right. And that's one of the things I've discovered since I came here to California. I came from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania is where I was. Flew out of Pittsburgh, came here 3.5 years ago, desperately wanting to get clean, desperately wanting to get sober, desperately wanting simply to get this poison out of me and reboot my life that was miserably failed at that point. And then I was in a treatment center. This is where Michael comes into the picture. I was in a treatment center. It was my 18th treatment over many years. And I was very suicidal. I felt extremely hopeless.
And this is during COVID, where we weren't even allowed to be going into treatment centers.
Yeah.
And I asked them if I could go in there and bring a message to you guys because it was shut down.
Yeah. And I still remember it, actually. You came up with someone else.
Yeah.
I remember where I was sitting. I remember you were sitting. And I remember you walking into the room for an H&I panel, they call it. Probably the 75th H&I panel I've heard through all my treatments and detoxes and hospitalizations. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Here we go again. And, of course, I judged Michael from head to toe immediately.
That happens often. Most of it's true.
You know, I didn't like the way he looked. I hated his stupid tattoos. The woman he came in with, everything about him was just judgeable, very easily judgeable. And so we talked briefly before the meeting, before he spoke, and he had asked me a couple of questions. But I remember sitting there having no real, when you started talking, I couldn't have been less interested in anything in my entire life. Get me through this 20 minutes of torture so I can go and figure out a new place to hang myself is what I was thinking.
That's pretty much everyone says in my life when I start talking. So I'm used to that.
No, but something happened. Michael shared a story. This is the interesting thing. He shared a story where the details, we laugh about this all the time, which is why one of the reasons we started this podcast was if you wrote your story out in every detail, from birth till the present, and mine out, there is utterly no overlap between our lives, whether it's education, whether it's incarceration, whether it's interests.
The only time we would have met is you would have been doing my autopsy. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Other than this.
Taking the drugs out of your pocket.
Taking the drugs out of my pocket, doing the drugs. Because I always had good drugs. For sure.
But what happened was in those 20 minutes, I don't know, they often say that it takes another addict to help an addict. It takes another alcoholic to help an alcoholic. And I definitely heard something different that day. I did. And I also, even though the details of our lives were different, you told a story of tremendous success and colossal failure.
And that's right there where I knew that we were the same. I remember driving with you when I was taking you to a meeting, and your whole disposition was just gave up, broken, just like hopeless. You were just hopeless, and it was just all over your face and everything. And I remember driving with you, and I said to you, that I understand. And at the time, I was thinking, I bet you don't believe me. But I do understand exactly how you feel, because the thing that connected us, I think the most important thing that connected us was there's a lot of people that do not know what it's like to get to the point where they are going to kill themselves.
Yeah, right.
Not thinking about killing yourself, but has decided, I'm done, I'm gonna commit suicide.
Right.
And right there cannot be any more hopeless than that. There's nothing more hopeless than that, to take your own life, to actually gonna do it. And that's where our common bond was. And most people don't know what that feels like. They cannot even relate to that. It's not suicidal ideation. It's actually a plan. I'm done.
Right.
And that right there, and the reasoning behind it, I would say, you and I both, in our own walks of life, had built such outside successes. And I think that we both put a lot of who we are in that. And
all of it.
Same. All of it. And then to destroy it and know that we're the ones that destroyed it. Yeah. And it's never coming back again. It's
never coming back. Yeah.
So I give up.
Yeah.
That was the connection we had. And that's why I think you heard me because of that. That's my theory on that.
No, I think you're right.
That's what I think. And I remember telling you in that car, I understand, bro, and it's going to get better. I remember that. And here we are.
No, that's
on a fucking podcast.
It's crazy. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me. No, it is. It's as morbid as it sounds. I think that I received not the gift of desperation, but the gift of hopelessness. Hopelessness. When I discovered is when you feel it, it's more than just a word. It's no matter how loudly I scream, no matter what I do, this is never going to work.
Yes.
So why try?
Correct. Or for me, I felt like I have tried absolutely everything, and there's nothing else to try.
Yeah.
So here I am.
That's right. Yeah.
Hopeless.
And I can't continue to live in this stupid fucking cycle of detox, leaving, and then liquor store 3 hours later. I mean, time and time, a mind-numbing number of attempts, if you want to call it that, and finally just, I don't know how the fuck, I barely remember even getting on the plane in Pittsburgh, but by an act of God, I got out here. But then when I heard, so I'm sitting there listening to you, you've heard me tell you this before, I had a suicide plan. Once the Ativan it wears off, I mean, once they're not giving it to me anymore, it's time to tap out.
You got to stay for the drugs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course. I'm getting every last fucking pill.
Right.
You better believe it.
That's right.
But then And what's even better about the story is that, so you come in, I hear your message, and it definitely, there was this relatability. We can all relate to one another as addicts, but sometimes it's a little deeper than that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why they always say someone needs to hear your story, not necessarily mine.
That's right.
This was one of those situations for me. So then, I'm thinking, so I didn't kill myself, obviously, but I'm thinking 2 months later, I guess I'll go back to Pennsylvania, and what? I still feel fucking miserable.
Right.
I'm still unlicensed. I don't have a license to work. I don't have any money. I'm still fucking unemployed and unemployable and blah, blah, blah. What am I going to go back with a fucking meeting list and do what? The same thing. And then I got pushed off to an outpatient center, strongly suggested by multiple people, like a half a dozen. And I walk in the door. I'll never, ever forget. I walk in the door. And they say, the owner wants to meet. He insists on meeting everybody on their first day. I walk into the office, and you're sitting at the fucking desk. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I had no clue. I never thought I would see you again. Why would I?
I know.
And here we are. We talk every day now.
Yeah, every day. Every day. That's the coolest thing. We would have never, ever, ever known each other, talked to each other, had anything to talk about, actually.
No.
And every morning, you and I talk. Every single morning that we communicate, every morning. Isn't that crazy? No matter what. No matter what. And it's beautiful is what it is, and it just shows that, like, the thing we have in common is I do think that the level of hopelessness, not desperation, that you and I share. A lot of people do not share that. But then also what we share is the way that we do recovery and what we believe recovery to be in our lives. And once again, everyone doesn't share that either. I did not get clean just to be clean, to live some mediocre life that I hate, that I'm holding on to, and I wish that I didn't have this life. I'd just commit suicide. I wouldn't do it, But that's what we share is the way that we do recovery, I think, and what that looks like, I think, for all of us,
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, I think that, it's more than wild. It's the most unexpected. Every time I see you, still to this day, I swear, I'm not just saying this for the podcast, because every time I see you, I have this moment of disbelief. I can't, I think about being in Malibu. Just, fucked off in the head, hopeless, suicidal, and
only
I
God,
think about us now.
Only God.
God. I know.
It's only God. The only way that everything happens. Even this podcast, it might sound hokey, but I feel like God told me to do this podcast, and I have been offered, because of my entertainment stuff, I've been offered by so many people to do a podcast with them, to do all these different kinds of media, and I've always turned it down. And I've been focused just on helping addicts now, and I took a break from entertainment years ago, and I only want to do what's going to help another human being now, because I always hurt human beings, but this I knew, it got put on my heart by God, and I was like, of course it's got to be me and you. It has to be. Because it's you look at our walls behind us, it's like Kenny over there with his degrees and stuff that I can't even pronounce and shit. And, I just put my movies on the wall.
Yeah,
so.
He's got your movies.
Yeah. I was trying to find my mug shots, but I think it would cover the whole walls if I had that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think what we're gonna do with what we can do with this podcast is we can talk about success and what that looks like, and how to do that and what's bullshit, and not just success and recovery, because success. There's different levels, I think, of success and what that means to each person, but there are very few people, if you look per capita, of people that are truly successful and able to build lives. And you and I share that. What we share is that we've both reached in our own ways, high success by any standard. And then we've thrown it out and built it again. That's unheard of, and I always wonder, why do some people, why are they able to do so well, and some people don't? And I used to think it was like laziness or fear. But I don't know what it is. I've always wondered though, why is that, you know? And I, you know, because I love seeing successful people. I love it. I'm by far not a hater.
Right.
I love seeing people living their successful life, and especially when it's like unheard of. Like you, it's unheard of. Like you're an addict that likes to smoke crack. Yeah, it's a big drug. Yeah. And you've accomplished so much academically. You've written medical journals, all this different stuff, right? And then you go and destroy it, and you get it again, and then it happened again, huh? And then you destroyed it.
It happened again.
And here we are again.
Right.
Medical license in hand, all that. Like, that's crazy. And that's my story too, though. I threw out a multi-million-dollar company, destroyed it to have $3 left, and you know, today I own multiple companies. I only do what I want to do, you know, and I wonder what that is though. Like how? Like what makes a person to be able to do that? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for everyone on the planet, but I think that when I think of the most successful people that I've ever known, they have a couple of things in common. Determination's one for sure. Success. I mean, I'm not saying you can't be successful if you're lazy, but it's usually not the case. Determination, motive, like focus, like every day I'm committed to this, no days off type of thing. But they also exploit a talent of theirs. And what I mean by that, for instance, let's say I had the passion and determination to be a musician. I don't play music. I just don't have it, you know? So no matter how much I tried, no matter how, I don't care if it was 7 days a week for the next 30 fucking years, I'm not getting on the stage. I don't have it. My fingers aren't long enough, you know what I mean? It just isn't there. If you look at people who are wildly successful, okay, in any area.
They found their talent.
They found their talent. Your talent, I know what your talents are. Your talents are reading people, understanding people, connecting people, engaging people. You have a very unique ability. I've told you this before, to look around the room. You read the room with in great detail, and just be able to, I don't want to say manipulate, but massage people together.
Yeah, I call it inspire now.
Is that
the
what you
difference
call it?
between inspiration and manipulation is motive.
You're a world-class hustler. You are. You're a world-class hustler. I don't have that talent, right? So with the determination, and you're just like me when it comes to that. Every day is the same. I'm up, I'm going.
That's why we text each other early in the morning every day.
Exactly.
Because we're both up early.
We're both up early.
Yeah. While all of our friends are sleeping.
Well, everybody, fucking Eric's definitely sleeping.
For sure.
But I don't, you know, that's what I see, at least in the people that I've known who have been wildly successful, whether it's medicine. You know, here's an interesting fact about me. When I was, next time you see my mom, ask her about this. She'll tell you. I used to be, when I was up through my adolescence, I wanted to be a minister.
Oh, wow.
I really did. When everybody else was watching like
you'd be a great
cartoons
You'd
and
be a
stuff.
Great minister. I'm hold up.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull out? I'm a minister.
Oh, he is.
Hold on. You know I'm a minister now.
Yeah.
So
Elisha,
I'm actually.
did you notice? Did you know that? Did you know that Michael?
When I walked in the door, did you notice I was a minister?
He's ordained by the state of California.
I'm ordained by the state of California from some website, and it took me 10 whole minutes. Yeah, isn't that's I actually married Dr. Kenny here.
Yeah. He officiated my wedding.
First time ever. Yeah.
So I wanted to be one though. I was I used to watch like Kenneth Copeland and stuff on TV, Billy Graham and stuff, and then as I got into my late teens, I just kind of discovered things like, you know, I had other gifts that were easier to use, you know, math and physics and stuff like that. Yeah. And I also realized that being a minister would probably be a lot more work than I was willing to do. like
Then
dealing,
an
dealing with like marriages and shit. No, I'm telling you. No, I'm saying
Then
I
an
recognize.
engineer or an MD.
Yeah, I'm
that.
telling you as a fact. I'm like, I don't want to deal with people's marital problems
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. I just don't.
Yeah,
Forgiving people for shit. I don't want to do it. I don't want to hear your, you know, I don't want to do it, you know? So anyway, it turns out that I jumped on a couple of gifts that I had and I just ran with it. And I was very determined.
Yeah.
Even after I got into drugs and alcohol.
That's the shocking part.
There were people say, how did you make so far being loaded all those years? Well, because that happened to be the thing I was good at. You know what I mean? If I had to really work at something and stay loaded all the time, it wouldn't have worked out.
I think you're right. It is about finding your gift and having the courage to actually do it.
Right.
And determination and consistency. Wow.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy, the smartest person I think I've ever met in my whole life was a professor I had at Purdue University. This guy, no shit, he had a bachelor's degree in engineering from MIT. He had a master's in engineering and physics from MIT. He had a PhD in engineering from MIT.
Wow.
And he had an MD from Harvard.
Oh, wow.
Right? This guy had his brain was just wild.
Wow.
This guy he was just operating on a different plane. Effortlessly. Effortlessly. He was just operating it, but ask him to babysit your kids and he's got a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd be like, I don't know, you know, because that's not his gift. This is. So I think that the people, I do think it's that simple. Determination combined with talent. It makes the Michael Jordans versus other people. It makes the Mike Tysons versus other people. It makes the Michael Lynches or whoever versus other people. You find your talent. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is even with all the talent and all the determination and motivation, you know where I'm going with this, throw a little addiction in the middle of that.
Throw it all away.
You'll walk away from all of it.
I think the
Isn't it
problem
wild?
with being so driven, we are what I call high-level addicts. I always say there's addicts and there's high-level or sophisticated addicts. And I always say that, and it's always those that are like us that are able to really accomplish things in life and get what we want, no matter what. We're the hardest to treat, the hardest to get clean, the hardest to buy into this stuff. And I deal with it every day. It's like, and I know, you know, it's like, it's the hardest. And it was hard for me. It was so hard for me to surrender when I didn't agree. You know, there's the part when I'm negotiating my terms of surrender and I just could not fathom that I have some person telling me what to do. Like, who the fuck are you to tell me anything when you are a counselor at a treatment center? What gives you the authority over me? It didn't click. I thought I was a smart person, but I was actually very dumb because the one thing I could never figure out, how the hell that he could, with 20 years clean, successfully 20 years clean, like we started this, that must be the foundation first.
Has to be.
Has to be.
Has to be.
We have to, but it's not everything. And I think there's a lot of people in recovery that think that that's all this is about is just, you know, I'm going to keep my clean date and, you know, let's count some years and count some days and that's your whole identity. But I think that that's the start, but it has to be the foundation. That's the part I couldn't figure out was the foundation. I couldn't manipulate it. I couldn't make it happen. I couldn't take it from you because I wasn't going to figure it out. That's why.
No, and the funny thing about that word, foundation, gets thrown around a lot, you know. I used to leave treatment, right?
Yeah.
And I would, I'd come in all miserable and fuck, and then I'd get detox and I'd start eating and sleeping a little better and feeling better, sharing some laughs, flirting a little bit, whatever. And I would leave believing I had a foundation. But I never really realized I still don't know how strong my foundation actually is until some weight is applied.
Correct. That's the only time we know.
For me to believe anything about my foundation right now is almost delusional. Like it's based on very little. Challenge my fucking ass. See how I respond. Do I stay clean? Do I fuck things up?
Yeah.
Then I can say something about my foundation. But I could never coach myself into like a foundation, you know,
Yeah.
like I'm just gonna
Correct.
enough pep talks.
Correct. We don't know. I really believe that is we don't know. I didn't know. Like I was surprised. I've been clean in 2 weeks. I'll have 18 years, and you know, in 18 years, there's a lot of life that happens, life on life's terms, and especially being in like the life that we live and the our friends. That we choose to have, we get our hearts broken more than most, in many ways, our closest friends die, all the time.
Every 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then, breakups, losing of finances, like everything's going to happen. We all have our turn. And for me, it's like, I've had all those turns and I'm sure I'm going to have more. And, I didn't know how strong my foundation was until after getting through it, surprising myself that I got through it. And even at the times, man, there were so many times that I actually thought, oh, I'm not making it through this. Yeah. To have that like anger, you and I share that too. You and I, the way we show pain is through anger. And you and I both do that.
For sure.
And
just ask my wife.
Yes. Yeah. And I've always had a temper problem, anger issues. But that anger will get me to do the craziest things and destroy myself, and I've had it in recovery and surprised myself that I can still be that level of angry and fuck it, fuck all this shit, I'm done. And oddly enough, barely my feet not do anything. My brain tells me, but my feet aren't doing it. Right. And I don't know which thing it was that did that. I don't know if it was a certain amount of meetings. I don't know if it was a certain amount of steps. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was certain people in my life. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's God. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know it's not strength. That's what I used to think it was. Yeah. I can prove that I am not strong. I can prove it.
Now when it comes to this.
I lived my whole life trying to be strong. And it's like, I couldn't. And that's what I beat myself up over about. Because it'd be like, fuck, I was so weak. I would intentionally not fuck this up this time. I'm not going to throw out my daughter. I'm not going to throw out my wife. I'm not going to fuck up my life. I'm not going to disappoint people again until I disappoint people again.
That's right.
And I'm like, fuck, I'm not strong enough. I have to figure out how to be strong. And I think that that's one of the biggest cliches or the biggest misconceptions about what recovery is. Not cliches, misconceptions about what recovery is that we must get strong enough. I hear that a lot. I still hear that a lot. Yeah. And
I heard it yesterday, actually.
Yeah. You're getting really strong, or you got to be strong enough. Yeah. It's like, no. And I don't, it's hard to explain to people that don't understand that it isn't through strength, it's through surrender. My strength, if there's strength, it's in my ability to surrender. Mm-hmm. That's it. And that's the only way that this thing works. I think that any of it works, from staying clean to building a successful life, and whatever that is that we deem that to be. I think for me, success means I'm living beyond anything that I thought I ever could in all different ways, internal, external, all of that. That's what I believe success to be. And to be able to do that, I actually have to surrender to this other way of living and these other roles and all this, stuff, recovery. And then I wake up and I'm successful. But there's a lot to do to get there.
Yeah, of course.
Every day, Yeah,
I think the word surrender gets a bad rap. I used to, I would hear it and almost get nauseated,
Yeah.
Like,
I couldn't stand that word.
Give me a fucking break.
Couldn't stand that word.
Felt like it meant rolling over.
What do you think the word means? And what do you think that this is a good, what do you think that it really means?
I think what it really means is quit fighting against.
Okay.
In our case, quit fighting against. We have this dope way of life that has helped millions of people not just stay clean, but rebuild lives, rebuild relationships, restore families, reinvent themselves. We have this incredible That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I would never be naturally inclined to do any of that shit,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Quit fighting against it and just give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Surrender to it.
You know what?
I was never fighting against my addiction. I was fighting against the solution.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I think that surrender, the way I see surrender is I would refuse. When I heard that word, I refused to surrender. I was a very small child, young child, running the streets. I had a lot of bad things happen to me. And I told myself, I am never gonna ever allow anyone to do anything to me. I will not give up. I will not surrender. I'm gonna be a tough person, strong, and all this stuff. And I would not surrender to anything. And what I found out for my truth in the word, I think that what I'm doing is I'm surrendering over for something else. And I'm not giving up. I thought this whole thing was like, I'm giving up. I'm a coward. Yeah, right. I'm weak. When honestly, I was a coward and I was weak, but I didn't want to admit that to myself or anyone else, and definitely not anyone else. But it was for me. I'm surrendering over this shitty ass life that I keep fighting so hard for, that I don't even want, and I'm surrendering it over, and in exchange, I'm getting this whole new way of life. I surrender my way for God's way. I surrender anger for peace. I think that each thing that I surrender, I'm getting something back. And that's how I look at that word. And it's like a good business deal. Yeah. That's a good deal, you know, because I'm surrendering some shitty ass life for actually anything else.
Anything
is
else.
A good deal.
Yeah, right. No, exactly.
Anything else, let alone what I didn't know was going to happen.
Anything else is better than what I got.
Correct. But yet we fight for it.
But we fight
because we will not surrender. We fight to hang on, and we won't surrender it over. But I think that surrendering over is I'm surrendering for something. It's a trade. And when I wrapped my head around that, I was able to do it because I could not. When they would tell me I must surrender to this new way, I must surrender to my sponsor, I must surrender to this program. When I heard that, I was like, this program, this thing is telling me what to do. They're going to program me.
I hate that word, by the way. Program. I fucking hate it. I still do.
Yeah, programming.
I still hate it.
Well, think about it. It's like the
program.
The program, but it's not a cult. Yeah, exactly.
The program.
The program. I use that term all the time, and I hate the term too. It's funny, but I always say the program. But yeah, I think that I think that it's just an exchange. I think that that's all that surrendering is I'm giving away one thing for something else, and I'm surrendering it over.
Yeah,
you know, that's my interpretation.
And it's a lopsided exchange. I'm giving away a lot of shit for give it enough time and enough repetition and enough fellowship and support and all that stuff. You're getting way more in return. I have anyway, infinitely more in return.
What's crazy, and you think about it, it's like I had no idea how badass this life was going to be. No idea. Yeah. And I laughed to myself that I resisted to have this life. How insane is that? That's insane, you know? And you and I, like we're talking about, I was going to commit suicide. Yeah. I gave up, but yet I don't want to try this. It's insanity. Right. It's insanity. That's why I think that we're crazy. I think that addicts, I think that we're crazy. It's a mental health issue.
I mean, if you said to most normal people, non-addict people, non-alcoholic people, you just threw it out there and just said, hey, I want you to do this, 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 and this every day, maybe take an hour total of your day, hour and a half tops. Do it every day with consistency. Oh, and take a little time to help someone else. Do it every single day, and your life is going to change radically. Your interests are going to change radically. Your spirit is going to change radically. They would be lining up for the book.
And asking more and more questions every day just to make sure that they're doing it right.
Right.
Yes, that's the difference.
People like us are sitting incarcerated still saying, fuck that shit.
Yeah, exactly. I won't do that. Yeah. How dare them want me to, how dare them try to program me? Yeah. Right. I know, exactly. It's insanity. Nobody can understand the way our brains work and you can read all you want about us. You'll never understand because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even fucking make sense to me. No, I just know. I'm like, someone will do some wildish, crazy sabotaging thing. And I'm like, of course they did. Yeah. They're an addict. Yeah. Right. And I get it. And there's no explanation for it other than, yeah, they're an addict.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Well, to me, it doesn't. I know to you, it probably does. In the brain, and the way the brain works.
No, but it's the same thing. It's things as long as you don't die in our community.
Yeah.
Any story that we hear about you, it's not like terror, and sometimes we even laugh. Like he did what? He's in jail for what?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
You know, because there's this. We all speak this language as addicts and alcoholics that we tend to understand only. You know?
That only we can understand.
Yeah.
That's why they say
I understand how thinking can get really sideways fast. I understand how, emotions can send people into bizarre places.
But that's the problem. I don't know, you would know more than I do on this probably, but it doesn't, I think I figured out that my whole problem has just been is I don't know how to handle my emotions. I will have a thought, it will produce an emotion, and that emotion will tell me to do something crazy, and then I take action. And somehow I think that's going to fix everything, and I destroy everything, and I just don't know how. I hadn't known how to deal with my emotions because I think they're real. Yeah. I think it's never going to pass, and I would rather, at the time, just get so fucked up instead of deal with this little ass emotion that I'm having at the time. And it doesn't make any logical sense, but that's what I had to learn is that emotions wildly pass.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Another thing I never knew, I didn't know that you don't actually have to take an action on a feeling.
Right.
I didn't know that until I came into recovery. I always thought if I have a feeling, there must be an action that follows. I feel like chocolate cake, so I better go get chocolate cake. I didn't know that I could feel like having chocolate cake and not go get chocolate cake. I actually didn't know that. I could feel like not slapping this dude. Yeah. I can actually do that. Feel like slapping this dude, not slap him. Crazy. I never knew that. I actually never knew that. I actually always thought I have a feeling it must produce an action. Actually, I didn't think about it. I just would take the action.
Take the action.
Yeah, and then later go, what the fuck did you just do, dude?
I'm guilty of it too. I think that most people, very few people that I know who are addicts, real addicts. Yeah. We'll talk about that another time. But very few of them, if any of them, aren't emotionally driven into relapse, into bad decisions, into, emotions. But let me be clear about something. As a doctor, I'll tell you, your emotions serve a very important purpose. They're supposed to be guiding you. They're supposed to be elevating your level of arousal, if you will. Poking at you, telling, maybe you need to watch this. Maybe this guy's a threat. Maybe, you need to add something to your life. Ooh, that emotion feels good. Maybe she's the one, but it's not supposed to be making your decisions for you. And I have found, at least in the last 3.5 years here in this community I'm a part of, we are very guilty of allowing emotions to be the only thing driving our actions. I get hyper emotional and all bets are off. My mom has that same degree of emotion. She cries, takes a nap, and then calls my Aunt Candy.
Yeah.
So
you have that emotion, you cry.
Yeah.
And then you call the connection for crack candy. There's a difference between you and your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at 2:30 in the morning, I'm calling every motherfucker I know, telling them what I think of them,
I think like for me, it's like I used to always act like I don't have emotions or whatever, but I have too many fucking emotions. And emotions still drive me a lot. I just think it comes down to choosing. I don't know if you feed your emotions, but like I'll be driving. It happens so often. I'll be driving and I start tearing up over this crazy ass life. How did I go from that to this? And you know what it drives me to do? Continue with this life. Yeah. It drives me to help that crazy newcomer addict that I don't want to fucking help because they resent you for trying to save their life. Like it drives me in a positive manner, these emotions that I have today. I just think that I have to pick and choose on which ones are my driving force. I cannot allow the negative ones, especially anger, fear, for me to take an action. I cannot take an action on that. But I like taking actions on the positive ones. And they say you probably shouldn't, I guess. You know, like you get too excited for something, so you make decisions. But I'm like a real passionate person. Like I take big risks, but I take big good risks. I want to live to the most. I don't want to live mediocre. You know, I want to take all risks. I want to, you know, tell that person that I care about them. I want to go to that place I've never been. I want to, just because I'm on an emotion, because I have an emotion and I want to take these actions. And it's like, I don't think that's bad. It hasn't been anyway. Well, maybe it has when I've taken that emotion, gotten married, and they're probably the wrong person.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to use
just recently
that love and lust or whatever you want, that attractive emotion.
You're right.
You know,
that's
you
driving
meet someone,
yeah,
you say, oh my God, look at her.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good
and,
point.
And you have this feeling,
That's a good
right?
point.
I want to get to know her.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, a week later, guys like us are living with her, right? And then we get married, all because pure emotion.
Correct.
Pure emotion.
Correct.
Why is it that 6 months later, when I'm digging a hole to bury her in, that I can see clearly there was no thought involved. This was not a good decision, right? Because I allowed that emotion.
But are they bad? Is that bad that this happens?
It depends on how it turns out. I mean, you could always argue it's growing experience and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying. I'm just trying to emphasize our emotions.
You're right.
They're supposed to
especially
be
lust.
Especially
not
lust.
Not a good one to be taking action on for sure.
A lot of pregnant women running around.
Yeah, a lot of bad decisions. I've done a lot of that. Yeah.
So,
you're right.
We're going to get into a lot of emotional talk in our podcast, because I really do. I think it's a very important. Almost for me, I'll go so far as to say, for me, it's the most important topic, just my emotions in general, because when I look at all the relapses, all the the 19 total treatments, the hospitalizations, the detoxes, everything, all of it combined, I have never in my whole life been in a good, peaceful, serene, calm, satisfied, content state of mind and thought to myself, this is a great time to fuck it all up.
Yeah.
It's always preceded by emotion.
Yeah, 100%.
100% of the time.
100%.
Right now, the thought of taking a drink or smoking a pipe or hitting a syringe, whatever, is utterly... it's the most unreasonable thing I can think of doing. Then how is it that it becomes reasonable 3 hours from now? There's an emotion
when
involved.
the wrong person pisses you off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
I've never just enjoying life. I think I'm just going to call the old I'm just going to swing by the old crack house, wish everybody a Merry Christmas. It doesn't fucking happen, you know?
No.
We get pissed off, we get angry, we get hurt, we get rejected, we feel abandoned, whatever.
Yeah.
We start losing our shit, and then we go from fuck her to fuck all you guys. Fuck it. And then I'm calling you 4 days later from a hotel.
That actually happened. That's a true story. True story.
Flat on my fucking back, covered in vomit.
Yeah.
So I'm very aware. If there's one thing I've learned to do, I will say well in my recovery this time around, better than ever. I will say that is just be able to be. I'm very aware of my emotions all the time, because I know if they start if the volume starts going up, I'm going to make bad decisions. That's my weakness, right?
Yeah.
I will openly admit it to the world.
Same.
There are a lot of things I'm gifted at. That is not one of them.
Same.
Hyper emotional.
Yep.
I will start making very bad decisions.
No, I couldn't agree more with that. That's the number one thing we must watch is the negative emotions, like those negative, starting of, I'm irritated by this person and I don't let that go. And now I resent this person and I'm not letting this go. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even like their friends, as a matter of fact, who would talk to them. I don't like them either. As a matter of fact, I don't like anyone in these meetings or anyone in this program anymore.
Bunch of shit.
Yeah, fuck it all. And I have to be absolutely aware of the negative emotions. Same with sadness. Like, same with like sadness I have to watch, because I'll go down the rabbit holes of like, you know, start to tell myself things that aren't true. Like, you know, things happen and it gets sometimes down to the way it goes, you know, where I'm not enough again, right? And it's like I have to be careful of those, you know, too, you know, because all those will destroy my life, you know. But that's why I don't know, I think that it's easy to shift your emotions and your perspective if you are on it, every single one of them, and you pay attention to every single one of them, and work those out. And look at the perspective, because there's always a better perspective on absolutely, I think, I've found in recovery, there's always a positive perspective to the thing happening, even the annoying person, the one annoying person, or the one heartbreak, or whatever it is, you know?
Early into this episode, Michael, you were saying that, you know, recovery, the recovery lives that you and I live and many other people do, that, you know, staying clean is without a doubt the single most important thing we're going to do every day. Because if I don't stay clean, give me one drink and see what happens, right? I don't care how much success I have. I don't care how good my relationships are. I don't care how much my wife loves me. I don't care how much money I have in the bank. Give me one fucking drink and see what happens. Okay, so that's the most important thing. And it's often almost used synonymously with recovery. Recovery means staying clean.
Yeah.
And then you said, but there's a lot more to it than that. And what I am hoping for our podcast, you know, is the a lot more to it part.
Like, what's your purpose? Like, that's the thing. It's like you get clean and you can choose or not choose to live your life with purpose, to have your life mean something in this world. And I think that for me personally, that's the also. And I think the also is very important. You know, I don't have any interest in just being clean, just, you know, counting clean days and going up to a podium and taking cakes and, you know, doing my average fucking life, getting up, going to work, coming home, day in and day out. That's not what I don't think that, for me, I don't think that that's the purpose. I think there's a lot more. It's like, life is to be, now that we came out of the depths of hell, what are we doing with it? Are we living a purpose-driven life? Does it mean something? And there are a lot of us you can look at and you go, wow, their life means something. And I don't think it's about others. For me, it's not about others looking at me and saying, you know, oh, wow, his life is so whatever. No, it's for me. You know, I wake up every day and I think I live the best life you can live. I really believe that. I think everyone should get to that place. And if they don't, they're shorting themselves, you know, because we should all get to the place. And there's a lot of hard work involved to get there. A lot of hard work, internal, external. But to get to the place where you wake up and you say, nobody has a better life than I do, period. I believe that about my own life. And it's like, I am so fulfilled every day with what I chose to have as my purpose, you know? And I think that that's what separates me from a lot of you and I, from a lot of people, is they don't wake up and feel that their life has a huge purpose. That's, I think, the point to all of this. Is what I think.
It's the point for me. I mean, I will openly say, you know, I love taking key tags. I love taking cakes. I love the celebration. You know, I love all that. If you think I'm doing this for a fucking cake, you're out of your mind. That's not even it. I mean, that's not even top 50.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's fun for the moment.
Yeah.
It's fun for the moment, and it matters to the newcomer. But
Correct.
That's not why I'm doing this. I am trying to get to a place. Look, I'm 53 years old. I got another shot. You know what I mean? Just a nut to do something. I have an army of friends that I never had in my life. Best friends ever. You're at the top of the list,
I agree.
right?
We have the best
I
friends
have
in the game.
guidance. I have people. I have God in my life for the first time in many, many years.
Yep.
And I want to get to a place when I make absolutely the most of every day.
Yeah.
I want to lay down every day feeling satisfied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And however that looks, it's fine, you know? But that is for me the goal of that's a difference between look, could I just walk out this door right now, say goodbye, Mike, goodbye to everything, never do nothing ever recovery related again, and possibly stay clean for the rest of my life? Maybe. Yeah. No, for sure. Maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
There's two problems with that. One is there's only one way I'll ever know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That you've tested over and over.
And that I've already tested numerous times.
Over and over,
75 fucking times I've tested this, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But two, to do what then?
Correct.
I have all this failure. I have fucking depression and misery and suicidal planning and all of this stuff to get clean to do what?
Yeah.
Just to not use again? No, this positions me with the right fellowship, with the right guidance, with everything that we learn in recovery to actually create. This is one of the few diseases. If you don't believe it's a disease, I don't give a fuck. I don't get into that debate. But for the sake of what I'm about to say, this is one of the few diseases where you can actually, through treatment, and when I say treatment, I'm not just talking about an institution. I'm talking about through recovery and treatment, you can actually become a far better version of yourself. It's not like than you ever were.
Yeah,
You know
or
what
even known that you could be.
And I'm looking at what I mean. How many people do we know like this?
I get to see it
just
over and over.
crazy.
Only in recovery.
Only in recovery.
Only in recovery do I see people that go from homelessness to attorneys to just living such crazy fulfilled lives.
Homeless to attorney. Yep. I know.
Only in recovery. And the crazy, it's not an anomaly. I see it over and over and over. Or how it says homeless to a doctor again.
Yeah, right. No, yeah.
You know?
I lived in a shelter in 2018. I know.
But it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Yeah.
Like when I saw you at that treatment center in Malibu and God walked you in our door and then I had you in my car and I'm driving to that meeting, I had zero doubt that the miracle can happen again, and it probably will. And the reason that is because I've seen it so many times. And I used to be so surprised. Like this is my first time ever doing recovery. And I'd be like hearing these stories, thinking these people are full of shit. I'm like, there's no way. Yeah. And it's so crazy. One of the first things you probably shouldn't pay. They say to pay attention to the similarities, not the differences. I think I was probably supposed to be paying attention to like recovery and how they did it. But honestly, when I first got clean, one of the things I paid the most attention, I could not believe how many people kept getting up to the podium to speak and they were business owners. Yeah. Over and over and over again. I'm like, this is weird. Per capita, there are not that many business owners as there are in recovery. Now, none of it is surprising. These success, and being a business owner doesn't mean that you're successful. Just the point of
doing what they want to do.
Correct.
That's success.
Correct. Going from the bottom's hopelessness to living a life that exceeds most people. And I see it over and over and over. The miracles of this game, it's insane. That's why I'm the biggest advocate, and I was against it all, because it's like only God could do these 12 steps that still work since 1939. And they work in foreign countries, they work different languages, and the same exact formula that worked in 1939 for some homeless drunk also works for a quadruple boarded doctor. You know?
It's beautiful.
Or a felon gangster like me.
A pornographer.
A pornographer. A pornographer. Same thing, same solution, and we get to the same place where we wake up one day and we say, damn, my life has meaning. I can't imagine a better life. That's the wildest part. I've done this for years now. I'll be like, I can't imagine life being any better. Yeah. And then it gets better. I'm like, what the fuck part of the game is this? And then I'm like, it can't get any better. And then it gets better. And it's like so crazy. even with life on life's terms, even with the breakups and the deaths and all of that stuff, when you look at everything else that is so amazing in our lives, miracle upon miracle upon miracle, even with that stuff, our lives are so crazy cool. Like so crazy cool. But we have to stay long enough
Yes.
to do it. And there's the problem, because we can't even imagine it happening to us. And we have to just somehow sit one more day and not destroy it in the meantime.
The hardest part of the entire last almost 2 years I've been clean and actually doing daily recovery, the hardest part of that has been the 2 years itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes time.
It takes time. Time takes time.
You know? Yeah.
Time takes time. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why I'm so grateful. One of the things I really want to emphasize in this podcast is there's no way, with all the literature in the world, with all the time in the world, with all the prayer in the world, without the community of men and women,
yeah.
there's no way I could have done any of this. It's been like the nuclear and the variety of men and women in my life today is absolutely astonishing to me.
Same.
And I won't walk away from any of them. And I want to highlight one of the things I really want to celebrate in this podcast is I want to talk about successes. I want to talk about not just this is how shitty it was for you know half an hour, but let's talk about the success. Let's talk about let's highlight some of the crazy personalities we come to love.
Yeah. I want to hear about the rebuilds. I love the rebuilds.
I do too.
You know, the rebuilds is awesome. That's cool and all that you whatever your bottom was, we hear those over and over.
Yeah.
And you can go on many podcasts and, you know, tune in to the craziest bottom there was that they spend the whole time on. That's cool. But I want to hear about the rebuilds. I want to hear about success, you know, and how to do that.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear that, and you don't hear about it all the time. And if I think that you'll find if you hear enough stories of the rebuilds, of the successes, you're going to see that there are all the common things to get there that you talked about earlier. You know, absolutely.
And I think the rebuilds are important too. And the reason is because, you know, there's I mean, obviously I don't speak for all of the recovery in the world, but very often I've gone to meetings in the past or, you know, been in recovery communities in the past where people, when they start maybe talk about their successes, it's seen as like an ego blast, you know? So they're kind of like stifled. No, I don't see it as that at all.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, there's a newcomer right now, someone who's like me, who's a week clean after his 19th treatment, who's ready to kill himself, who needs to hear your fucking rebuild. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's important that you qualify. Okay, we're dealing with the same disorder here. We're dealing with the same problem. However, look at what's happened to me.
Yes.
That's what I need to fucking hear.
And especially when you've destroyed such level of success.
Yes.
You have to hear in detail how people can get to that level of success again. But yet you're right. In meetings, we are not, they don't tell you, but it seems like you're not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah, no.
You vaguely say what you do for a living. You don't talk about the outside building component. And that's I think that's the sad part, but I needed to hear it. I had to hear people that were like me, that had destroyed big. But more importantly, I had to see that they lived their life again successfully. Right. And I'm like, how the hell did you do that?
This
I need
is
to know.
actually possible.
I need to know. How did you do that? Because I can't figure it out. You know? And here I am. I figured it out. But actually, I didn't figure it out. What you said was true. It's the community. It's the people.
It's the people.
And that is the key to the whole thing is that God is going to put people in our life that are going to show us if we'll just surrender. If we will just surrender to their way, they will show us, and God will continue to put those people in our life as long as we listen. That's the hard part.
Well, I mean, this is a perfect example. You know, when I first met you, I mean, before I really got to know you, I kind of avoided you for a few months. You just frightened me. I don't know. No, but I remember, everybody's talking to Michael, listen to Michael, listen to Michael. And I remember I didn't say it, but I'm thinking to myself, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
This guy, like a 10th grade education,
Yeah.
fucking felon, pornographer.
Pornographer.
He's gonna lead me to the promised land.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? And that's exactly what happened.
You're like, I'm a medical doctor.
No. Yeah. I just have to open my mind, surrender, and just listen. And that's exactly what I love telling that line because it's exactly what happened. I'm like, holy fuck! Now this guy I talked to, he's like the top of my list.
And you use the same. What it is, it's funny. It's not about what we build. It's the recipe on how to build it. Yeah. And you did the same recipe, and here you are.
That's right.
And that's it. That is the game. It's the recipe and passing down the recipe. But we get so stuck on, you're not like me. I'm not trying to have what you have.
Exactly.
Why would I listen to you? Exactly. I don't want to do that. Or like if our roles were opposite, 100% I'd have been like, I'm not listening to that dude. He has all these degrees. He has nothing like me. There's nothing he has that's going to teach me
That's right.
how to build my life because he had it so easy. That's what I would have said to myself. Boy, would I have been wrong. Because it's the same freaking recipe. It doesn't matter where we came from. That's the craziest part. That's the craziest part of this whole game, that I think that it still blows my mind that it does not matter if you're a doctor or if you're a felon, an entertainer. Like, it does not matter what your background is.
No.
It's so wild that literally the same recipe will work for all of us. That's mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. It shouldn't be that way. It should be different recipes based on different people, right? But it's not.
But that's, I think, thank God that it is the same recipe, because that is ultimately where the real freedom for me has come from, is when I do the same recipe as the felon, the tattoo artist, the lawyer, all these people, and we're all talking about these same spiritual and emotional issues.
Correct.
We get drawn together with a gravity that's unlike anything else. You know what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with common interest or any of that shit.
And even when you're clean and you start to fall off, you can always come back to the recipe. Without changing your clean date or without destroying your life. Almost sometimes, but like literally go back to the same recipe. Yeah. And it just works for every component of our life.
Well, this was a great first episode. The next episode, Michael will be interviewing me, so I can give you kind of a little more detailed idea of who I am and how I came to meet Michael. And then the following episode, I'll be interviewing Michael, doing the same thing. So, and then we're going to start launching into some guests and talking about various topics. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we'll see you then.